I'm sure they do.
It must get weathered.
Well, and even if it's a little bit dirty, they don't want to change its name. It's still going to be the White House.
I don't. It's not going to be the dirty house, is it? Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to our American series. Today we're going to be looking at Washington DC. We've never been ourselves, or we've never been before, have we?
Nope.
So we have no idea what to expect, except obviously the White House. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yes.
We know that's there, but we have no idea what else is there and why visit Washington, basically. What is there to see? What's there
to do, to eat, to see,
to everything,
to learn. Yeah,
exactly.
Let's have a look.
So let's jump right in.
Top 10 picks. Number 10, Washington Monument. Built in honor of the first US President George Washington, the Washington Monument is a stone obelisk located on the National Mall. The monument is 554 feet or 169 meters tall and was made using different types of stone, including different tones of marble, revealing a change in the source of the material when construction was stopped and later continued. Washington Monument was the world's tallest.
Is that why it's a different colour halfway up?
Yeah.
You can see it there, can't you?
I think so.
The bottom half is like whiter. I mean, maybe this is just like theories, but it would make sense, wouldn't it, if that's what they said.
Yeah.
Structure when completed in 1884, but it was overtaken by the Eiffel Tower in Paris in 1889. Currently, the monument is both the tallest structure made
you can see the
mostly
difference
of
in the
stone
brick
and
and
the
the
tallest obelisk in the world. For clear, picture-perfect views of the White House, Capitol, Lincoln Memorial, and Tidal Basin, remember to visit the observation deck located at the top of Washington Monument. Number 9, Lincoln Memorial. Standing across from the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial pays tribute to Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president. This impressive marble structure was modeled on the Parthenon in Greece and was constructed in 1922. The memorial's 36 exterior columns represent the 36 reunited states at the time of Lincoln's death. The interior has 3 chambers.
I just remembered where I've seen this from, and it's the movie National Treasure with Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Do you remember that? Where it's a bit like Da Vinci Code and he's going round and there.
I don't remember that, no. But I've seen this in plenty of other instances.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Central chamber houses a 19-foot tall statue of Lincoln. One of the most symbolic American monuments has been the site of famous speeches like Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. You can best view the Lincoln Memorial across the reflecting pool, which beautifully illuminates the monument. There are many other memorials. For example, the Korean War Veterans Memorial, commemorating military members who served during the Korean War, World War II Memorial, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, resembling the Pantheon in Rome with a 19-foot statue of Jefferson, the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, featuring a 30-foot statue of MLK carved into the Stone of Hope, and a large granite wall showing excerpts of his speeches and sermons. There are many other impressive memorials in Washington. Check out our travel.
I was just gonna say that there's loads of memorials. I guess it makes sense why they're all kind of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't realize there were so many that you could see. Or the Jefferson one, I have no idea there was.
The only one I really knew about was the Abraham Lincoln one, which is kind of, I think it doubles up as a bit of a museum as well, or at least some you can go in and have a look around.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I really knew about.
Interesting.
Lots to see.
Yeah.
Travel guide for more suggestions. Number 8, United States Botanic Garden. US Botanic Garden is one of North America's oldest botanic gardens, built in the year 1820. This free admission living plant museum aims to inform about the importance of plants to human and the earth through the exhibits, tours, and programs for visitors of all ages. Visit the conservatory, where you'll find courtyard gardens and garden rooms under glass, with one whole room for orchids and another room for rare and endangered plants. Or visit the World Desert Room, the Children's Garden, the National Garden, an outdoor oasis with roses and other plants from the Mid-Atlantic region, and Bartholdi Park, a favorite secret garden of many Washington residents.
It's a nice place to sort of kick back from the hustle and bustle. So, you know, like going through the main city, seeing all the attractions in a rush, and then you can sort of just break up and be like, let's just go to the gardens,
take a time,
cup of tea,
have a stroll.
Yeah.
Probably don't have tea, baby.
No, probably not. Or scones.
You just bring your own.
Bring around, set up a little tea table.
So the first time
English
we would
tea.
take English tea with us on a
We joke,
holiday.
but we always take tea bags.
We always take
because
bags,
every hotel has a kettle, pretty much, so we can make use of.
Yeah.
We can make our tea. We get our fix, don't we? Our English drug. Yeah.
Number 7. Museums. Washington is unparalleled when it comes to world-class museums that offer diverse experience with art, history, culture, science, and nature. Visit the National Gallery of Art, where you'll see over 140,000 paintings, drawings, photos, and sculptures, or explore the National Museum of Natural History, which houses 146.
What is that?
The Natural History Museum.
Oh, okay. I didn't even read the line below. I was just like, Smithsonian. What's that? Okay, so it's a Natural History Museum in Washington.
Yes.
Does the Smithsonian have any reference? What does it mean? Why is it called that?
I don't know, but I've heard it mentioned.
Okay.
Is it?
I'm still none the wiser.
You know, the Night at the Museum films?
New York. No.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, New York.
Because I think
the first one definitely is in New York.
Right.
It's the museum by Central Park.
Oh, okay.
Because all the little people go running around towards the park or through the park towards the end as well.
They might make reference to Smithsonian where some of the
possibly.
exhibits are being moved.
Yep, it's very fair.
I think that might be why.
This is true. Let's just continue.
Okay. I just wondered whether we don't know.
6 million specimens and objects, and is the world's largest natural history collection.
You kind of have
Other museums you should check out are the National Air and Space Museum,
this one looks cool,
the biggest collection of historic aircraft and spacecraft in the world, including the original Wright brothers 1903 Flyer. National Museum of African American History and Culture, the National Archives Museum, where you'll.
Speaking of which, I wonder if we've got any museums like that. We must do, mustn't we, right? In
yeah,
the UK?
probably.
I don't think I've ever been. But it would be
quite
an interesting thing to, rather than just natural history or science, like an aviation one would be quite cool. I mean, rocket. America does have rockets because they've got NASA and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they probably do it better in that respect. Yeah. But we can check out.
Find 3 most historically important documents in America: the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. And the best part about museums in Washington is that most of them are completely free of charge. Also, the ones that don't offer free admission are worth visiting, such as the museum. See our travel guide for more suggestions. Number 6. The National Mall. Located in the center of Washington, D.C., the National Mall is a 3-lined boulevard stretching over 2 miles with the Lincoln Memorial and the U.S. Capitol on its west and east ends. The idea for the mall began in 1791 when President Washington asked a French engineer to create a plan for the country's capital. Also known as the America's Front Yard, the National Mall receives about 24 million visitors every year, making it the most visited national park in the United States. With its majestic monuments and open spaces, it is a unique symbol of democracy and a popular venue for civic celebrations and rallies, including the presidential inauguration. For local residents, it is a place for jogging, picnics, and other recreational activities. Number 5. Arlington National Cemetery. Arlington National Cemetery is the final resting place for over 400,000 military personnel, veterans, and their families. About the size of 472 football fields, it is the largest military cemetery in America.
It looks very impressive, I almost think it's like a little bit almost disrespectful to go there as a tourist, if that makes sense, because, you know, there's obviously people's loved ones are buried there, and I feel like maybe going there and just being like, oh wow, look at all this, you know, it doesn't, not, I don't know, to me a cemetery doesn't feel like the best place to go as a tourist. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's quite spectacular, but for all the wrong reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Not sure how I feel about that one.
It's a tricky one, I guess.
It lies in Arlington, Virginia, across from the Potomac River, and has been operational since 1864. With rolling green hills, centuries-old trees, gardens and monuments, the cemetery honors those who have served the country by giving them a sense of beauty and peace. One of the most famous sites at Arlington is President John F. Kennedy's gravesite, featuring an eternal flame that has stayed lit since his funeral in 1963. Another is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, a large white sarcophagus dedicated to unidentified fallen soldiers in World Wars I, II, Korea, and Vietnam. Don't forget to visit the Air Force Memorial in honor of those who have served the US Air Force. Number 4. Smithsonian's National Zoo. The National Zoo was founded in 1889, making it one of the oldest zoos in the United States. Located in the Woodley Park neighborhood in northern Washington, D.C., it features 18 acres, home to over 1,500 animals from 300 different species. Among the zoo's residents are the famous giant pandas, Asian elephants, Sumatran tigers, and many other exotic creatures native to various continents.
That's where you belong.
You can join animal training and feeding activities at no cost, since the National Zoo always offers free admissions for all its visitors. Number 3. The White House. Standing on Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House has been the official home and workplace of every US president except George Washington. It was called the President's Palace.
When you think of Buckingham Palace, I suppose you can kind of get quite close to that as well.
I think it's similar. You can touch the fence and put your face through it if you like.
I suppose the minute you walk through it, you're going to regret it, aren't you?
Yeah, obviously. You're not going to walk in.
But, house and executive mansion at various times before President Theodore Roosevelt gave it its current name in 1902. Modeled on Ireland's Leinster House, the White House was constructed from 1792 to 1800. However, it was rebuilt and renovated several times in the course of a century because of war damage, interior crowding, and structural weakness. Today, the White House complex consists of the executive residence and the west and east wing. If you wish to visit the White House, you must submit a tour.
It looks obviously really impressive. We've obviously seen a lot of the White House as well, because it's in everything America, basically, isn't it? It's always a feature point. But I'm just thinking, how do they keep it that white? Is it literally painted on like a monthly basis or something? Like there must be, you know, because everything weathers, doesn't it? Unless they don't have the sort of weather like we have, but you know,
I'm sure they do.
It must get weathered.
Well, and even if it's a little bit dirty, they don't want to change its name. It's still going to be the White House.
I don't. It's not going to be the dirty house, is it? I didn't mean that, but I mean it looks so pristine.
It looks so, yeah.
Sorry. And I just wonder how they keep it that way.
Maybe they do. Maybe it gets painted every 6 months. Or it depends on what it's constructed of. It does look like it's not, you know, the underlying stone or whatever it's made of.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
It's never going to fall down because of about 100 layers of paint on it.
Request through your member of Congress if you're an American, or your country's embassy in Washington, D.C. if you're a foreign national, but you can clearly see the White House from the street and take a selfie. Number 2. United States Capitol. The United States Capitol is the seat of the American government's legislative branch, with the Senate in the North Wing and the House of Representatives in the South Wing. Situated at the National Mall's eastern end, it is both an office building and an art and history museum. Inspired by ancient Greek and Roman architecture, the Capitol construction began in 1793 and underwent many additions, renovations, and modernization efforts over the past 200 years. The building's features include
really
the
impressive.
rotunda,
Wow.
a big ceremonial space, also serving as an art gallery, National Statuary Hall, which displays statues contributed by individual US states, the crypt, venue for historical exhibits, an impressive visitor center, the capital's main entrance, underground tunnel that takes you to the impressive Library
Wow.
of Congress, and much more. You can visit the Capitol free of
It's just-
charge.
Yeah.
Number
Cool
1,
building.
Georgetown.
Georgetown.
Founded
number
in
one, okay.
1751 as a tobacco port, long before Washington was established, Georgetown is the oldest neighborhood in the America's capital. It is known for its federal-style architecture, impressive estates, historic brick row houses, and famous residents, including past US presidents Thomas Jefferson and John F. Kennedy. Among the must-see places in the neighborhood is Georgetown University, the
That was
oldest
cool.
Catholic and Jesuit university in America, and home to the Riggs Memorial Library, one of the country's last few iron-cast libraries. Georgetown is a great destination not only for history buffs, but also for outdoor enthusiasts. Georgetown Waterfront Park is popular with paddlers, and the C&O Canal Towpath is a scenic spot for walking, running, and biking. If you're in the mood for shopping or dining, visit Pinstripes or Georgetown Park. There are many other things to see there.
Yeah,
Check
but
out
Camden
our
was-
travel guide
Yeah,
for more
a lot of history
suggestions.
there.
We created a mobile-friendly PDF.
Is that, yeah, that was number
I think,
one,
yeah,
wasn't
that's
it? Yeah, I'm just going to
Great.
stop it there.
So that was a video by Hungry Passport on top 10 things to do in Washington.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C., I apologise. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great place if you want to learn about a lot of the history.
There's a lot of American history,
Yes,
isn't
a lot of American history there, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Museums, all the memorials. The botanical garden looks really cool.
Yeah, that
so
looks really
another
nice.
thing
And-
to add to the list when visiting DC. Interesting, very interesting.
For me, it's an interesting one because the White House, oddly, would be one of the lower things on the list for me. And I don't know why that is. I guess I've just probably seen it so much on like television and in movies and whatnot that I feel like I've seen everything there is. Obviously, I haven't been inside, but I've seen everything there is to see about it. Whereas things like the, excuse my lack of knowledge or memory, I should say, the obelisk, that looked really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And at the other end of that, you had the Abraham Lincoln Memorial
Yeah.
that, again, looked really impressive and almost like a must
I think
see.
all the memorials, you kind of have
yeah.
to do a whole walk
I think
through.
the other one as well, the Martin Luther King one would be really cool.
Yes.
That was the statue with him engraved in the side,
Mhm.
wasn't it? That was quite impressive.
Yeah. And the museums, you know, the Airspace Museum.
Yes, but
Um,
I mean, the Natural History Museum was really cool. I don't know if I would necessarily see it just because I know how long, like, it's basically a whole day of a holiday. If you
Yeah.
wanted. Like, to really see it and do it justice, I think you'd have to spend a
So-
holiday.
guess it depends how much time you have as well.
This is true. Yep, this is true. But yeah, some quite interesting
things.
stuff there. And yeah, I think interesting is the word because
Yeah.
it's very historical. There's lots of information. And yeah, I guess it's kind of where things originated from, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where, you know, all the presidents would be, and that's why all the memorials are there.
No, it's
It
really
makes
cool, though, isn't it?
sense why some things are there and not in other places.
True. Yeah.
So yeah, interesting about Washington DC. One to watch out for.
Yeah, I think I need to learn a little bit about geography in America and like where the states are in relation to one another because, in honesty, I have no idea. I should have a bit more awareness, but I have none. So I couldn't tell you like what's next to Washington or what's next to New York. And I think that would be interesting as well because, you know, maybe you spend a week in Washington, you see what there is or it has to offer, and then you could hire a car and drive to the next state or a couple of states across and make it a bit of a road trip as well, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah. And USA is massive.
Oh, it's very vast, isn't it?
So you can't just do it all
No,
in
you
a
can't
trip.
go from like one side to the other for sure. Yeah, another thing I'd like to see at some point would be Route 66 and what that has to offer. Maybe just a road trip, you know, a road trip holiday.
Yeah.
Hire an RV, go proper American.
Yes, why not? We'd love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So this was our video on Washington, D.C., everyone. Let us know in the comments if you have any other suggestions of things to do or see in Washington that will possibly not in this video. And keep watching for our next video on our USA tour, really. It's what we're doing. A little tour, or massive tour.
It'd be a big tour.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big tour.
It's
The little big tour.
The little big tour. Yeah.
There we go.
So see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.
Bye.